So, previously I made this grid for an imaginary football league involving Argentina, Brazil, Denmark and England. And since then I've put in some imaginary results and I've played around with column and row sizes to suit myself. And then crucially I've added some extra blocks of cells which I will show you now. I'm just going to zoom out. So my whole spreadsheet now looks like this, and it's got blocks of cells for each results table where I'm going to calculate where the points are allocated. So this block of cells is going to figure out whether the home team won a game. So I put home team win question mark. This block's going to figure out whether the home team drew the game. This block's going to figure out whether the home team lost the game. And down the columns here, we've got whether the away team won, drew, or lost the game. So we're going to construct the league table by first allocating the points in this little table that I've made. So the home teams, by the way, are the teams down the side, so the ones whose names you read in rows. And in fact, perhaps it would be a good idea to say that those are the home teams. So I'm just going to put, let's put home there, and we'll merge those cells together. Format, cells, alignment, merge, and then also format, cells, alignment, and turn the text around. So I've got a little thing on the side that says home, or maybe home team if you like. That's run out of space now, so I'll just make that a little bit smaller and center it. There we go. So that just about does the job. It's pretty hard to see that small, but you'll zoom in on it if you need to. Okay, so I've got some imaginary results, and this block here that I'm pointing to is going to decide whether the home team won or not. Now the home team will win if the first score is more than the second score. So I'm going to put a logic statement that says equals, and then I'm looking at Argentina against Brazil, equals Argentina's score, which happens to be an F7, and then a greater than symbol, Brazil's score. So it's asking the question, is Argentina's score greater than Brazil's score? And it's returned the result false because Argentina's score isn't bigger. However, if I change the score to 2-1, then it changes it to true. So as long as Argentina's score is bigger than Brazil's score, it will put true in that cell. So I can do the same for all the cells, and actually I can just do a quick copy-paste in each of them, and it will tell me in each case whether the home team scored more than the away team, so whether the home team won or not. In a similar way, I can figure out if the game was a draw. So the game is a draw if the two scores are equal. So I'm going to ask it the question in the range of cells that says home team draw now. I'm going to look at the Argentina against Brazil match and ask it the question, were the scores the same? So I'm going to say equals Argentina's score in cell F7 as it happens, equal to, click on Brazil's score. So I'm asking the question, is F7 equal to G7? When I press enter, it says false because the two scores are not the same. It's Argentina 2, Brazil 1. But if I suddenly change that to 2-2 for that game, then it says yes, it's true, that game was a draw. So again, I can do that for all the games, and it's quite easy to do a quick copy paste for all of them, and it kind of figures out which match you mean, because it remembers the relationship of being so many cells to the left or right and so many up or down. And then I can do a similar thing for did the home team lose. So equals, now the home team lose if Brazil scored more than Argentina. So equals Brazil's score, which is in cell G7, greater than Argentina's score. And if that's the case, then it'll say true. So it says false at the moment because the game was 2-2. But if I change it to 2-3, okay, so Brazil won the game. So here where it says home team win, false, because Argentina didn't win. Here where it says home team draw, false, because Brazil won. And here where it says home team lose, that's true because Brazil won. So again, I can copy paste that for all of these. And I'm going to do the same thing in the columns, but looking at the thing from the away team perspective. So I've got a block of cells that asks the question, did the away team win? So again, for Argentina against Brazil, the away team won if Brazil's score was more. So equals Brazil's score in G7 greater than Argentina's score. And if that's true, it will tell me true. And again, I can duplicate or copy paste that for all cells, and it will kind of figure out what I want. And then I can do a similar thing for did the away team draw. So the away team will have drawn if Argentina's score is equal to Brazil's score. And I just want to make the font a bit smaller on that one for it to fit. So I want to make it all size 14, which I forgot to do. Boom, boom, boom. And there as well, size 14. Yeah, so again, did the away team draw? Just copy paste that everywhere and it will figure out what you want. And then finally, did the away team lose? The away team lost if Argentina scored more than Brazil. So equals Argentina's score greater than Brazil's score. That's false because Brazil won the game. So I'll just copy paste lots of those. I'm aware of the fact that I've kind of duplicated information here. So asking the question, did Argentina win, is the same as asking the question, did Brazil lose? But it's going to make it easier to have all the home team information in a row and all the away team information in a column when I'm constructing the league tables and I want each team's home and away information. So I'm duplicating the information now to make it a little bit easier for myself later constructing the table. Now, instead of true and false, I can have that to be ones and zeros. So if I just say, instead of equals the logical argument, F7 greater than G7 in this case, if I write that as equals 1 times, and then brackets around the question, is F7 greater than G7, then instead of returning true or false, it will return me a 1 or a 0. So again, I can do that for all of those, and then have just ones for each time a game was won, drawn, or lost, whatever you're interested in finding out, and 0 for every time it wasn't. Now that's useful because now that they're ones and zeros, we can add them up and start to count how many wins, draws, and losses. So just changing all of these now so that they're ones and zeros instead of trues and falses. Of course, I should have done this at the start, but then that deprives me of the opportunity to explain exactly what's going on with true and false there. And we're nearly done anyway. Okay, so that's that with ones and zeros instead of trues and falses, and we can start to count these and construct a league table. There's one little problem with the draws though, because if a cell is blank, and therefore it's got the same blank thing in both cells, it can't tell the difference between a blank cell and a cell with two the same. So Argentina against Denmark, a game that, let's say, that hasn't been played yet, it thinks that's a draw because a blank is the same as a blank, so it looks like a draw. So I'm going to have a further thing, and I'm going to introduce an argument called is blank, and is blank returns the value 0 if a cell has something in it, and 1 if it's blank. Now I'd actually quite like the reverse of that. I'd like it to be 0 if it's blank and 1 if it's got something in it. So I'm going to do 1 minus that, so that instead of getting a 1 I get a 0, instead of getting a 0 I get a 1. And I'm going to say for all of the draw cells equals 1 minus is blank, and then brackets the cell with, let's say, the home team score, close brackets, and then close brackets again. So just look at the syntax of that. Make sure you understand it. Open bracket, 1 minus is blank, then the cell with the home team score in, or the away team score, close bracket, times the question, is the home score the same as the away team score? Is F7 equal to G7? So if I do that, then let's have a look at what happens with Argentina against Brazil. So Argentina against Brazil, if it's 1-0 to Argentina, then that's not a draw, so it says 0. If it's 1-1, then that's a draw, so it says 1. If it's 1-2 to Brazil, then that's not a draw, so it says 0. But if the cell's blank, because the game hasn't been played yet, then it's 0. Nobody's got a draw out of that. So I'm just going to take all of my draw cells and put that little 1 minus is blank in front of it. So 1 minus is blank, open brackets, and then we're talking about the Argentina-Denmark game now. So the first cell in that game, close bracket, and there we are. It's 0 at the moment because the game hasn't been played yet. But if it's been played and it's 1-1, then it puts it down as draw. Or if it's a 0-0 draw, then it still recognizes that as a draw. Okay, so I'm not going to record myself doing all of that, but I'm going to update all of the home team draw cells and away team draw cells with is blank statements. And then in the next video, I'm going to look at how to turn all of that into a league table.